pre-prepped for you. I really need you guys to stay focused, okay? So if you're sitting kind of waiting for something to happen and you don't quite understand what's going on, please let me know. I spent probably a good hour rewriting this lab form to help you understand what you're doing. Because the way it's kind of written in the book, it says do this, divide that, plug this number in, and I'm kind of more along the lines of, this one particularly, in order to understand what you're doing, you need to understand the math. And ultimately, I get to kind of quickly make sure you understand what you're doing. In this particular experiment, you're going to be finding, we're going to be inflating these balloons, okay, with gas, okay, because we're going to be using the vinegar and the baking soda, okay, we're going to be creating CO2 gas. It's also going to be creating some water vapor, okay? That's just a byproduct of what we're using because we don't have pure vinegar, right? Okay, so it's going to be a combination. So essentially, the variable you're finding with this experiment is going to be V, okay? Pressure, you're going to be getting from, I'm actually going to look it up, there's a general figure you can use that's probably correct, but you can actually look up on the weather, reports what the actual atmospheric pressure is today. If I can't really get a good reading, but it does tell you how to make a conversion for pressure. So we can get this from the weather report, okay? R is a constant, okay? So just like we're going to be using this idea in the lab, but just like the circumference of a circle is pi r, right? 2r. I'll actually prefer to do it pi d. And then the area, right, is pi r squared. Pi has a symbol, but it is a number. It is a constant. It's a relationship that never changes. So essentially, if we can find r, right, we can find the one-dimensional circumference, we can find the two-dimensional area, and we can even find the three-dimensional volume of a sphere, right? Does anybody know off the top of your head what the formula is? You do? Okay. What is it?
I think it's 4/3 pi r to the third.
Yep, it is. And of course, this is a one-dimensional measurement. Again, I could have written this as 2r, right? But what d is two-dimensional, three-dimensional, okay? So essentially, that's what's kind of special about a circle. If we have a prism, a box that we're filling up, there's no constant, right? It's length times width times height. So there's no constant, but what makes a circle special is that we really only need one thing. With the radius of that circle, we can find any and all of these. So that's what you're actually going to be finding on your balloon today, if you hopefully have had this before in your algebra or geometry class. So we're going to be finding this, but what I'm pointing out is that r, like pi, is a constant, okay? And so scientists have worked out that math. You're going to be given that number, just like pi. We know we could discover it by measuring a bunch of circles, right, and computing that relationship of the diameter, but we know it's 3.14 or something, right? So we just would plug that in, and then you're going to be using temperature change, which is easy enough to measure because it's just an initial temperature minus whatever the temperature is when you end, right? So we're going to be able to find all of these elements, okay? And in the end, we're going to be able to find the number of moles, So basically, we're using all of this math that you've been hopefully learning up to this point. So go ahead, on the labs, the one thing we have pre-measured for you to help speed things up is the baking soda. So that at least 30 grams should be measured for you. I left my digital scales at home, so you're going to have to use the manual ones. And so what you're going to start by doing is taking your 2-liter bottle, and you're going to put in 200 grams of vinegar. It needs to be fairly as close to exact as you can, okay, with the scale. So go ahead and start with that step, okay? And you're in teams of, it's generally 2 or 3. I think you guys might be, you can either join them or them. There'll be one team of 2, the rest of you will be teams of 3. While one person is measuring the vinegar, I want the other person putting the baking soda in the balloon, okay? So no one should just be sitting off to the side, okay? All right?
Thank you.